They say silence is golden, but I learned it can be far more sinister. It all started with the old cassette tape I found at a yard sale last summer. I'm a bit of a collector of vintage media, vinyl records, old VHS tapes, even 8-tracks. There's something about the analog hiss and crackle that feels more real, more alive. So when I spotted that unmarked cassette tape among a pile of junk, I couldn't resist. I bought it for $1. When I got home, I dusted off my old Walkman, popped in the tape, and hit play. At first, there was nothing, just the familiar hiss of blank tape. I adjusted the volume, hoping to hear something. And then, faintly, I heard it, whispering. It was so quiet I had to strain to make out the words, but the voices were there, layered and indistinct. I caught fragments. "Don't listen. Help me. He's coming." A chill ran down my spine. I stopped the tape and rewound it, thinking maybe it was some sort of audio diary or a recording from an old radio show. When I played it again, the whispers were louder, clearer. They seemed to be warning me, but I couldn't understand the whole message. As I listened, I felt a presence in the room, a heavy, oppressive feeling that made it hard to breathe. I took off the headphones, and the room fell silent again, but the feeling didn't go away. I looked around, half expecting to see someone standing behind me. There was no one, of course. Just shadows cast by the dim light of my desk lamp. I decided to stop for the night. Maybe I was just tired, and my mind was playing tricks on me. That night, I had a terrible dream. I was in my childhood home, wandering through the dark hallways. I could hear the whispers from the tape, only now they were all around me, coming from the walls, the floor, the ceiling. I tried to run, but my legs felt like lead. When I turned a corner, I saw a figure standing at the end of the hall, its face obscured by shadows. It raised a hand and pointed at me, and I woke up, drenched in sweat. Over the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about the tape. I played it again and again, trying to decipher the whispers. They seemed to be getting louder each time, more urgent. He's coming, they repeated. The oppressive feeling returned whenever I listened, growing stronger each time. Then one night, the whispers stopped. Instead, I heard a voice, clear and unmistakable. It was a man's voice, deep and menacing. "I am here," it said. "I am with you." My blood ran cold. I ripped the headphones off and threw the Walkman across the room. The tape inside unwound, spilling its black ribbon onto the floor. The oppressive presence in the room was overwhelming now. I felt like I was being watched from every corner, every shadow. I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, but the feeling wouldn't go away. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I started seeing things out of the corner of my eye, dark shapes moving just beyond my vision. Whispers followed me wherever I went, even when I was outside in the bright sunlight. Desperate, I took the tape to an old friend who worked with audio restoration. Maybe he could make sense of it, I thought. I handed him the tangled mess of tape and explained everything. He agreed to help, though he seemed skeptical. A few days later, he called me, his voice shaking. "You need to come here," he said. "Now." When I arrived at his workshop, he looked pale, terrified. He played the restored tape for me. The whispers were gone, replaced by a single, continuous scream. It was the most horrific sound I'd ever heard, raw, unending agony. My friend stopped the tape, and we sat in silence for a moment. "Where did you get this?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. I told him about the yard sale, about how I found the tape among a pile of junk. He shook his head. "This tape, it's not just a recording, it's something else, something evil." I didn't need to be told twice. I left his workshop and drove straight to the nearest bridge. I hurled the tape into the river below, watching it disappear into the dark water. I hoped that would be the end of it, but the whispers never stopped. They followed me everywhere, growing louder and louder. And now as I write this, I can feel that oppressive presence behind me. I'm too afraid to turn around, too afraid to see what's there. All I can do is warn you. If you ever come across an old, unmarked cassette tape, don't listen to it. Destroy it. Because once you hear the whispers, it's already too late. He's coming for you too.